just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to another episode of the Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast. I'm Joe DeLeone here with Ryan Roberts. We're doing more of our prospect pairing episodes. You just heard a really fantastic interview the other day with Jaleel McLaughlin, the Youngstown State running back. And now we're back to these analysis pairings that we started doing with the quarterbacks. Today's pairing being Zach Charbonnet from UCLA and Tank Bigsby from Auburn. Ryan, how are we doing today?
Good, man. Good. The pollen level in New Jersey right now is awful, though. So my allergies are kicking my butt.
That is the one thing I do not miss about the East Coast. There are a lot of things I do, but that definitely not.
Dude, I walked outside yesterday to get in my car, and my car was covered in pollen, just like absolutely covered, like every single inch of it. And it was, I won't go with postnasal drip, and my nose was runny, and it was just like, oh my God, it's awful. It's just, you wake up in the middle of the night and you got that, that feeling in the back of your throat. Like, ugh, it's awful, man. Awful.
Yeah. Back in the day, during pollen season, I used to just wake up and immediately start sneezing. And then I would violently sneeze throughout the day through classes and in high school and such. And I was very much obnoxious because of having to deal with that pollen stuff. So I do not envy you.
And my wife yesterday was like, "Oh, do you want to go on a walk in like this very woody?" Well, no, we went because I'm a nice husband and a nice father. We went into like this. It's a nice little hiking trail, but like there's flowers everywhere. There's pollen everywhere. There's high grass. It was just the worst possible situation for me to be in.
Take her on a walk in like your nearest Target parking lot.
Maybe we could drive to New York and just walk around the the main
pollution
main side.
That's much cleaner. That's definitely much cleaner. All right, let's get to talking about this pairing. Before we do, though, I just want to tell you folks about our partners at Bet Online. Don't be like me, who is terrible at trying to hit parlays. Instead, actually make some real bets, make some real money. Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA and NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to their website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, Ryan. You said that you wanted to play a game before we get into talking about these two very large but very, very different running backs.
Yes. So for the people out there, this is a very organic conversation. Joe always tries to get some cliff notes before we start.
No. I like to just pick your brain. I try to like chip away in I'm new to the evaluation stuff. I'm
just messing with you.
I don't want to look silly.
I'm just messing with you. So what I want to do here, we haven't talked about these guys at all. I don't know if Joe liked Charbonnet. I don't know if he liked Bigsby. I have no idea what his thought process on either guy is. So what we're going to do, Joe, is I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. After I say 1, we're going to say the player that we liked more out of the two.
Okay.
You got that one?
Yeah.
All right. So ready. 3, 2, 1. Tank Bigsby. No way.
Yes.
Knew it.
Okay.
All right. Let's go.
Let's talk about it.
You're a California guy. It's your bias.
No.
Right
okay.
Now.
So I want to talk about the first thing I want to talk about before we evaluate these guys and kind of share who we like better. It's really funny watching these guys back to back because I watched Tank Bigsby and I'm lining up Charbonnet and I'm thinking after watching Bigsby, who's he's 6 foot, 215, physical runner, really aggressive, forward lean. I like that in a running back. I really, really like that presence as a running back. And then I flip on Charbonnet, who's I think maybe a little bit bigger. He's 6'1", 6 foot, and he's 225. And I'm fully, big guy. I'm fully thinking that Charbonnet is going to be even more of a downhill runner. And he's just not. Like, he's not as, he's not, he is downhill, but he's got a little bit more juice to him. He's got more acceleration when those lanes. Why you give me that look? He's got, when the games that I watched him, I watched LSU and I watched Utah. And like, I feel like he was able to pick up that second gear a lot quicker. And that's part of the reason why I like him more. You don't agree with that?
I don't think he has a second gear. I think he only has one gear.
Which
think
is just
so.
Out of a cannon.
No, not out of a cannon. Oh man,
slow?
We disagree on this so much. Oh man, this is gonna be a fun one. I think. All right, let's just start here. I think Bigsby's a very good athlete. Very good athlete. I do not think Charbonnet is a good athlete at all. I think he's average.
He's stiff. I agree that Charbonnet is stiff.
I think he has a lot of wasted movement to his run style. Okay. I don't think he's very twitchy. I think he is just a really physical runner, which cool. That's awesome. That's great. I mean, great contact balance and great physicality and a lot of extra effort as a runner. I just did not think he was a good athlete at all. Like at all. I thought he was Mike Davis. And
he's a lot bigger than Mike Davis, though.
Well, yeah, but like the run style, I thought was Mike Davis. Mike Davis did not have a ton of juice, but like he's just very determined physical runner. That's just what I see with Charbonnet.
I think that I agree that he's stiff. He's not as fluid as Bigsby. But what impressed me more with Charbonnet over Bigsby is that like I didn't get a lot of explosive runs in the games that I watched, the two of them. And it's not like UCLA's offensive line is vastly better than Auburn's. Auburn's offensive line was terrible. And it wasn't like they were very creative with their play calling in a way that was going to put him in advantageous situations. But I just, when I was watching Charbonnet, I felt like as soon as he got the ball, he was going 100 miles an hour. And I think I now understand what you mean by he doesn't have a second gear. Because like when I watch him, like he's the same speed as soon as he comes off the snap.
Right.
But like whenever he had like room to operate, he's not going to burn anybody. He's not going to pull away from people. I watched him get caught in the LSU game, but I feel like he hits holes really, really hard. And that's what I liked about him, is that he's exploding through these holes.
I like the run style. He's very physical. So this is what I kind of think with Charbonnet. I think he'll get drafted. I think he's more of a day 3 guy, though, to be honest. I don't know if he I don't know, man, because I feel like you can find that style. I think it's kind of easy to find that style, to be honest. Like I think you can find a lot of guys that are Zach Charbonnet-esque in the NFL, and because I don't think he brings anything to you in the passing game, really. And I think that
his hands aren't great. Yeah.
No, he's just really it's just more because his hands aren't great, but also it's just that he's not you already kind of said it. He's stiff. Like he's not going to run routes like a route tree as a running back. He's going to be a check down runner type of thing as a passing game option, which again is fine, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a cap to how good he is, but I don't think there's really a cap to Tank Bigsby, to be honest. I think that Charbonnet is a much more nuanced runner right now. Like I think he understands how to run the football better than Tank Bigsby right now. But I think Tank Bigsby is just such a better athlete, like just and I think that he's going to impact the passing game more because I saw him a couple times, easy hand catcher, and then he just kind of acceleration after he's able to corral the football. So I wasn't even in love with Tank Bigsby. I just think that Tank Bigsby just has a much higher upside than Zach Charbonnet, like much higher.
I can understand the upside aspect. The only thing is that I'm very short-sighted when it comes to running backs because it's the one position where you kind of have to be short-sighted, and it's part of what we talked about with the Bijan Zach Evans episode.
Yeah,
I'm just very unwilling to give leeway to upside, and I don't know if that's like a chaotic way of thinking for a prospect.
It's not because running backs have such a short shelf life. Right. Sometimes you'd just rather the guy that can come in and gives you the floor compared to the ceiling. Like I get that.
Like I could almost see Charbonnet coming in as like a day 3 pick, like you're saying, like maybe like early round 4, end of round 3 pick, and he steps in and has like a really good rookie and sophomore season, and then
could happen.
He kind of just tails off. I understand
like
where you're coming from.
Alfred Morris ish.
Or you know what actually might be a decent comp for him? What about Jordan Howard? Is that like that just kind of popped in my head?
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's pretty good.
Tank Bigsby though, I have one for you, and then I want to kind of just sure if that's I don't know if it's because he was wearing number 4. Do you know who I'm going to say?
No, not yet.
I don't know why, but because he's like lean and he's like a forward, like 45-degree angle runner, and he's aggressive. I kind of like for some reason kept thinking of TJ Yeldon, and I don't know if that really
Oh
fits.
no, don't do that. Don't do
Is
that.
that a forced comp?
Look, I'm gonna put this out there in the universe real quick. Okay, I'm gonna put it out. I did not dislike this. This is probably a little bit of a miss on my part. Well, not a little bit. It was a miss on my part. I actually liked TJ Yeldon coming out a little bit. Like I think I had like a late 3 on him or something like that. So like I was way too high on TJ Yeldon. So like that's where my pause comes in for kind of just for respect. But I think that he is a better athlete than TJ Yeldon, though. Speaking of,
I agree with that.
I think he's a better athlete. I think there's something there with Tank. I don't think Tank's there yet, just from a nuanced perspective. And I think he's got some, I don't know, he's got some habits that need to change a little bit, man. Like I think there's sometimes because I think he's a pretty loose athlete in the open field. There's some plays where he just kind of makes a guy with a subtle shake and makes a guy miss in the open field. And then there's the Alabama game where just such bad awareness near the end of the game. He was the one that ran out of bounds like 2 or 3 times near the end of the game to give Alabama a chance to come back in that football game. So I don't think that he's there from just a nuance and consistency perspective, but there's something there. I think there's something there. I really do.
I can totally understand that, the desire to get more from him. One of the things I even wrote down for him is that it feels like he does rely very heavily on just throwing his body at an opening. Like he really likes to throw himself into hitting a hole. He doesn't do a whole lot to create space for himself outside of that. And I almost wonder, like you're talking about that nuance, he actually has like decent wiggle for a bigger running back. And I kind of wonder if he did have better vision, if he did have better instincts, how much better he could be. That was kind of one of the things that stood out when I was watching him.
Did you notice? Because maybe this was my big turnoff to both of them. Like when Tank is in the open field, when he breaks into the second and third level, it just everything seems very smooth, right? Like he's definitely one of those players that seeks contact, which I think he needs to change a little bit. But when I saw Charbonnet kind of in similar instances, I just felt like he was a lot of wasted shake, and you just like knew nothing was going to come of that. Like he's a head first runner, and I'm just like a lot of wasted motion with a guy like a Zach Charbonnet, in my opinion. And there's not much wasted motion out of a guy like a Bigsby. Like I think Bigsby's going to be a kid that is going to have I think both guys are going to have contact, balance, and physicality. Both of them do. But I think that Bigsby's going to give you more on the second and third level with making guys miss. Like I think he's going to create some hidden yardage for himself. So I think that he's more of a slippery runner comparative to a guy like a Charbonnet, who's just a runaway freight train. Like he's just extra efforts. He's going to break tackles just because he's going to bulldoze people. Like that's what he is for me.
The thing that kind of sucks though with Bigsby is that he didn't really get a lot of opportunities to get to the second level because that offensive line and that offense was so freaking bad last year. I don't know why the hell he entered the portal and then came back. Why the hell did he not leave?
Well, yeah, I think that was more the coaching situation that was happening a little bit. Remember when all that Harsin stuff was kind of getting thrown out there?
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, look, man, it's Auburn football is not great right now. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He is the best player on that offense by a large margin. I mean, like I heard the center, Nick Bronze, is a decent player, but you're breaking in, after Bo Nix transferred, you're going new quarterback, and Bo wasn't even that good to start with. And then their best receiver, who was a decent, I forget his name, but he was a decent player. He entered the transfer portal, and he actually left this offseason too. So it's not great right now for Auburn. It's really not, man. I would just like to say, fantastic first name, Mr. Bigsby. Do you know his real
first name? Is that
name?
Actually his real first name? Is it like General Booty?
Tank's a nickname.
What is it?
His real name is Cartavius.
That is a pretty good name.
Cartavius Tank Bigsby.
That's almost as good as Tank, but I understand now the Tank nickname. I wish that was a given name, and if you convinced me it was a given name, I would have totally agreed with it because he plays like a tank. Like he does. Like charging forward, aggressive. Like I want to hit you.
I think he almost takes that nickname a little too seriously though, because again, I think he's a better athlete than just this pure one cut downhill runner. Like, I think there's something there from a wiggle perspective. I think he can make guys miss in the open field. And there was one play, I forget which one it was, where I thought I saw a little breakaway speed, to be honest. Like, I would not be shocked if Tank Bigsby is a much better tester than people are going to kind of give him credit for. Like, if he's a 4.5 flat kid, I would be like, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Like, maybe even like he's a 4.4 high guy, like a 4.49, 4.48. Like, I think that's possible. This is an interesting one, though, Joe. How fast do you think Charbonnet is going to run in the 40?
4.6.
4.65, right? 4.63.
4.6, 4.55. I think at like the absolute
4.55, really?
At the absolute best.
Man.
I think he's a little faster than we're willing to give him credit for.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's that much of a vast difference. Actually, maybe Bigsby's definitely faster, but he's leaner.
I think Bigsby has he's definitely a little smaller. I think Bigsby has. I think he has legitimately multiple gears to him. I don't think Charbonnet has multiple gears. I think he's a one-gear runner, which, again, is fine. You mentioned Jordan Howard, which is not a bad comp. Jordan Howard's a one-gear runner, and he's been successful in the NFL
big,
and pretty much anywhere he's been. Right, exactly.
And he was one of those guys where pretty good vision, which would made him really good early on. And he would just hit holes really hard. Like, he wasn't necessarily like ultra physical, but like he just was hitting them hard, and he was so much bigger than everybody else, is why he was so productive early on. And I think that Charbonnet has that in him. Like, I think somebody's going to draft him on day 3, and then just randomly we'll be talking about him in fantasy and be like, wow, look at this kid. He rushed for 900 yards last year.
You're going to call this
RB5 this year.
You're going to call
the next.
This is going to be your James Robinson this year, isn't it?
It's not.
Be, right?
No.
Your day 3 sleeper.
It needs to be like Pierre Strong. It needs to be somebody who is a smaller school guy. It's got to be to fit the line of James Robinson, Elijah Mitchell. It's got to be someone small and compact with a lot of carries that has really good vision. That's what I'm looking for.
Do you have that guy in your head right now?
I don't. I haven't watched enough guys yet.
Okay.
Do you?
Small school.
I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin might fit that description. A lot of carries, a lot of experience.
Ifansi from Montana State. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the guys that are like that. There's
a lot of good FCS running backs.
Yeah, this running back class is nutty, though, isn't it? Like, we're just talking about 2 guys that are probably like 3rd tier running backs in this class, man. Like, it's. Yeah. I mean,
and there's a lot of athletes. I have to say, well, there's a lot of big athletes, and there's a lot of athletes in general. And I will say, I did start watching Jahmyr Gibbs. I need to fully watch him, and we're going to talk about him on the next show. But Jahmyr might be my favorite player in the class at the position.
Oh. I like it, man. I like it.
I don't want to give away too much, but
I like it.
Ryan, I think that's a good note to wrap us up on, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, wherever you're listening on the audio feeds, at Joe DeLeone, at Rise and Draft, at NFL Prospects Pod. We'll talk to you later.